welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. With me today is my good friend, Troy Brittingham.
And that's it. And that's just me, and you're Jeff.
Yeah, that's it. No, of course not. D is back. He is here with us.
I have returned.
Yay!
I have come back. New and improved.
Are you the bad guy from Inspector Gadget?
No.
Today, we are here to talk about the Echo TV series on Disney+. Echo. That was bad. It was a bad joke. You should feel bad.
He'll get you next time, Jeff. Next time.
It's super weird. That sounds like a quote from something. I just can't.
It sounds so familiar. I just can't place
Can
it.
I see your hands? Can I see your hands, out of curiosity?
I'm petting my cat. I'm sorry.
All right, if you're new around here, we give everything a thumbs up or a thumbs down. First of all, we talk about it, and then it gets a letter grade at the end to be a little more specific. So we are going to kick things off right away. Troy, Echo TV show, thumbs up, thumbs down?
That would be a thumbs up.
D, how you feeling about it?
It's a thumbs up.
Is it a thumbs up? Is it? Yes, it is. It is absolutely a thumbs up from me as well. This show might be, in my very biased opinion, that might be the best TV series Marvel's put out since WandaVision, and maybe including WandaVision.
Now, you said bias. Did you work on the show, or did Kevin Feige come to you personally?
No, I'm just a DC guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
Bias in the opposite way, I guess.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I was gonna skip this show.
Explain it to Mad Cat. She doesn't understand.
I was going to skip this show completely. I wasn't even going to give it the time of day. D texted us and convinced us to watch it for the podcast, and I got to say, I don't regret it. First of all, only 5 episodes, and each one is less than an hour, the finale being 37 minutes long, including credits. You are in and out real quick, and it's perfect. It is the perfect length of time to tell the story it is trying to tell, with Echo and Kingpin and everybody else involved in her little life in her tiny town in Oklahoma.
One of our big complaints with all of these shows is always there's a big middle portion of it where nothing happens, or
You're right.
or there's a 4-episode one where I feel like maybe if there was 2 more episodes in between, something would happen. This is they wrote a thing and then they chopped it up into the amount of time that it should take to finish the thing.
Yeah, they absolutely fucking nailed this one in my fucking opinion, and it's just it doesn't overstay its welcome at all. It tells just as much as it needs to. All of the acting is completely on point. First, personally, best soundtrack in Marvel history.
the Yeah Yeahs opener is a banger and a half. And,
the fucking
it's
fight scene
really,
in the
really
skate
good.
rink with Dragula by Rob Zombie blasting.
They did a great job, I think,
Amazing.
in a ton of ways. A lot of things that are, not my favorite. There's things I don't know. I not many that I'm gonna highlight. I think in this analysis, but I think the number one thing. Well, before I get into anything critical, I'll definitely speak to those things. It's. I think it does a good job of. I think the drop in one day is yes good. I think there's definitely reservations I have with that in and of itself. And I definitely think that we're still in this phase of they drop. I think people are 100% right in their analysis when they say that Marvel's burying this, and not really.
Yeah,
credit.
it's so bizarre.
Because I think that what they had is actually pretty good, and in the end they could have just seen what they did, and this is where I feel like good production, good producers, see what they have and say, you know what, let's do this differently, and maybe they did, and that's what led to the single drop, which is probably better than nothing. But I do think that probably they could have done this in 2 special events.
Oh yeah,
which I think would work way better. And everybody says these things are long movies, and it's it's 2 specials. That's what most of these shows have been, and they have much better dropping off points at the midway point where you can kind of find a good place. And but the problem is that a lot of times I don't think it works well enough that way, where they don't have a good enough kind of endpoint or however they break it up, and they try to do 5 episodes. Still feels like too much for the story they were telling here.
Perhaps.
But you're right. There was good and great action. I like. I mean, come on, highlights in the first episode of just that the big fight sequence where they do the oneer like. None of these one-er shots are legit anymore.
Yeah,
so,
no,
but I
sure.
appreciate the choreography that goes into the portions of it that are in the one takes or in single takes that are pretty extended. And so obviously like the long sequence, you put them all together and it's like a really cool sequence. If you do the music right, Daredevil is amazing. I love seeing Daredevil and how this kind of works into the narrative. I like how they. Fist is obviously amazing. D'Onofrio fucking kills it, and I really loved all the Choctaw heritage and kind of how that was all going into it. I was definitely I enjoyed it a lot. Like I was definitely emotional during parts of it. Like it was very good. I think in a lot of ways that way. I think it got a little hampered in different ways, like where the creative juices they were trying to muster out of it get a little fragmented. I think that it probably peaks in its third episode or fourth or whatever the bowling alley.
I'll agree with that. There's some I think I was worried that I was going to come in with the only one having a little bit of complaints, but
I have
didn't
complaints for sure.
I don't think I was feeling any of the alien stuff or whatever they were, but where it's
Alien?
like the powers or whatever they came from, where it was
They
like the
weren't
first.
alien.
Well, yeah, I know they were like something not.
It's
human.
your ancestors,
Sure.
kind of power like that. That to me.
Are you saying the natives were aliens?
No, she was like a
it was-
weird lizard
no,
scroll person.
No, there was all from the Choctaw myth and legend of they come from mud inside this cave.
Okay.
And in the beginning, when you were kind of probably looking at the scale, like it was them shaking up the mud of like where they originated. There's their first people, and like that's like the first woman of power, like that, like generations go through. And her mother was a healer, and like that's where they get all this stuff from. Now, that leads me to probably my other. It's not a complaint in the longer run. Well, it's a complaint in the long run. It worked for the show, but it leaves us in a similar place where I don't like it. I actually love. So I mean, full spoilers on everybody for this.
Obviously,
like,
yes,
we're
yes.
going through the whole thing here, but
Let's put it this way: if you haven't watched it yet, and if you're like, this is probably a nothing thing, who cares about this side character of the side character Hawkeye show? This is a show that's worth watching. If you
go watch it,
watch
come
it,
back here,
watch it,
at
come
this
back,
point.
yeah.
And at this point, then I would talk about the ending and just how I thought it was beautiful and it was great. How she goes for a healing nature to his pains and she heals his eyes, she heals his, and that the power here was healing, not thematically it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
It worked for doing an ending in a different way without fighting and like laser beams and like whatever, and like. All of that
the Secret
is
Invasion
cool.
approach.
We didn't
right.
get another
So
scroll
all
fight.
of that was cool, but it also goes the Secret fucking Invasion route with like the fact that like you take and the Shang-Chi route where you take a street level character and you've given them powers that are at the very least very vague and obscure to the point where it's like I don't know. Now it seems like a Deus Machina
Right, you can
for anything.
You can now make her a street level thing or stick her in an Avengers movie, depending on how popular she is.
And
she's
that's
strong.
exactly what they went for. And it's like, oh, come on.
That
like,
is,
I
I
see-
didn't know how to put words to it, but you did. She
Yeah.
would not be out of place fighting Daredevil versus fighting Thanos. I could see her doing both.
I could see them being like, but someone does have, we can tap into this. And like, I could see making her just a healer, right? It's not a, that's very needed in a big battle type of situation. So I could definitely see that being like their thing. And it really worked thematically with her always going for the pain, going for punishment, and being a killer, and her rejecting that element of herself and being different, and her fighting for her people. And I liked, but like, there's the other power, but that she manifested is her ability to present her fighting skills through other people. Now, take it for what it is. Is she controlling them like a puppet? That goes with the theme of fighting for them.
Yeah.
But she'll use them to fight, but which I like, but that also seems like a
It wasn't explained enough for me.
Vague power to be like, do you have to be kind of accepting, or can she mind control people? Like, so it was like that a little overboard. I liked the theme of it. It worked out really well. It was cool. But I loved her at the best in that bowling scene because of a couple things. And they name them by the end. Like, what is your ferociousness, your planning, or your like. And one of my favorite parts about Echo is her ability to kind of like set traps and like have this kind of Native American setup of like you set these traps up for them, and like and she uses the environment to like against it. Like, so her adaptability was the other one. So like those things I thought were cool, and I was like, that's her superpower. That's her ability. That's like really neat. Is that she can use her and she is a differently abled character with that she uses to her advantage when like Daredevil does when she turns the music on.
I love every kick with the prosthetic leg, and it's just like a blood splat every time.
So good.
But she also is now able to like shoot a blast out to like extra power in her thing. It's also a healing agent. It also lets her do like fight through other people. So like it's just like it's too much. It's like, and I'm like, that's where it's the step in, and it seems like it undercuts it all, and that's where I'm just like, you're trying to have your cake and eat it too, and you really want these characters to be able to cross over at any given point, and it's like, just build another world. You have a perfect opportunity to just be like, let's just fucking settle down and make a real fucking ground level Marvel universe that you can fucking kill off in a big event in the movies, like
if
whatever.
you wanted to, sure.
Like Echoes, just make it like it's a great. It was a good story. It was. I liked all of that.
Love seeing me some Fisk.
Loved.
Kingpin's a great bad guy. I love seeing him in things.
Every scene that he's in is the best scene of the show.
Is that because Kingpin is so good, or is it because Vincent D'Onofrio is so good?
You and I. Like
we're the same.
We're the same.
We are family.
That is one thing that I noticed after a while. I was like, you and I. Like the you and I. If there's got to be a meme of like if Vincent D'Onofrio comes in and says you and I, it's fuck like
my blood will run cold.
It's or just what kind of I just don't buy it anymore in a way. Also, it's like I'm just like okay, and like I liked how. That was another thing. There was a good analysis of it that kind of looked at like Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin here as like a good standard for like white colonialists kind of like taking
kind of homogeny,
offering them kind of like come to the city, leave your heritage, I'm your family, like the kind of thing that was
have
like
this
very
augmented reality contact lens that allows me to not learn ASL and we can still communicate.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it definitely mirrors like I think like a lot of football stuff, like college football, and like how a lot of like Native American people, like what is his name, Jim Thorpe.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
These are good examples of like.
I was like, where are you going?
Yeah,
with this?
well, I mean, a lot of those football teams are kind of like, colonialized Native American members that they kind of like brought in as, hired guns almost. So it's kind of fits that. There was just a lot of layers to it, and
yeah,
I think
for sure.
It was well done, and there was a lot of I think heart brought into the production of it, and I think people put like 100% into it. Like it was good. It's just I don't think anybody gave a shit about it. I don't think anybody wants to give it a chance. Marvel already has an issue with like female characters at the lead, and then they also just in the sense of like how people react to it.
Oh,
yeah.
We've seen the subreddits.
Do you remember there was an episode of She-Hulk where they literally were just poking fun at like the people they knew were going to react at the show, and it was reading Reddit threads about how like it's all woke female shit and blah blah blah. It's like, well, no, these characters have been around for fucking decades. Echo was introduced in 99. She-Hulk was like, 71? We found out she's like old as shit.
She's older than Deadpool, yeah.
Yeah, like,
as far
fuck
as,
off
like,
with your woke shit.
Character.
These are real heroes that... I'm sorry, not everyone's fucking RDJ Iron Man, piece of shit.
Well, like I said, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Last Jedi came out and for some reason half the internet turned into turbo weirdos.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, but here's the thing where it's like, okay, but Scarlet Witch not really having that issue, right?
No.
Like,
No.
WandaVision didn't have that.
Weird.
Because I think, again, that's a better product. If you look at the other female-led, like, I don't know, if you count Black
Right.
Panther
Half-
into that, Black
half
Panther
the-
2, like
Half the problem with Captain
it-
Marvel and and the Marvels is like
And
those
they-
movies also.
Yeah,
aren't
part
very
of the
good.
issue with the criticism is just that they're not great movies. Like, there's no doubt about it that those are subpar Marvel movies, and I don't know what it is, but they're not wrong in saying that, like, they didn't give enough character to Carol Danvers to make her a compelling character. I don't know what her fucking character is. She-Hulk has a more particular personality that I think is there, but it's so it was such a chock full of zaniness, and that people weren't used to that. And I was like, I still think She-Hulk is pretty good. I think it gets a little too goofy by the end.
Sure.
With some of these things, and it got really goofy, and it just spoke to a lot of convoluted, like, you're just not making the joke land now, and
Yeah.
I think that was unfortunate for what and that just brings it down more. But Black Widow is again another movie where you're like, well, there's good parts of it, I guess, but like it's still goofy as fuck at parts, and
Yeah.
it just doesn't sell. And so, like, all of those arguments that people have about like the female characters, like, and them just being like, listen, make a good movie and I'll watch it, fine. But Echo isn't one of those, but I think what that's suffering from is a cascade of bad stuff before it. So it's like, okay,
Well, I mean, last year
you need
specifically.
such a perfect concoction to have any goodness to it. But then again, what the fuck? Where the fuck is Moon Knight? Where the fuck? There's so many fucking hanging threads in the Marvel universe. It's absurd.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
me and Jeff were talking about, I think an episode or two ago of like 2023 was inarguably one of the worst superhero movie years in a while. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
It
24 is not shaping up to be any better.
no, I mean, but there's like less of them because I think they know.
There really is like nothing. There's
Yeah.
nothing. There's almost nothing to note I want to watch. Most of the things are like whatever Sony's like Spider-Verse stuff.
Madam Web.
Oh yeah,
Which,
Madam
by the
Web.
way, I didn't see the full preview for. I saw an earlier one for which I was
did.
I'm not opposed to like whatever storyline they're doing. I just don't care.
Yes.
Like,
They
I
didn't make me give a shit about any of those characters at all.
It doesn't matter.
It's fleshing out the Morbiverse though.
Yeah,
Wait, that's the
That's the
Morbius
Morbiverse.
it's
Yeah,
the same thing.
It's in the same.
I think so.
Craven's gonna be after that.
Yep, Craven the
Craven
Hunter is
Hunter.
coming out this year.
Oh God, is there a
gonna be
Venom
really-
3 happening?
Yes, yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
I'm sure there is.
There
Venom
is.
2 was, yeah, it was all right.
Mhm.
I think I was more
That's-
favorable to that than you
That's
guys were.
the best one out of all of the Sony
And it's
superhero
just
movies,
all right.
and it's
And it's
fine.
again another movie where they like it's the second Venom movie in a row where they're just like, we're just gonna take out the full act.
Yep,
We're gonna skip right over it.
we're just gonna skip over this
All
part
the plot
and
points.
Carnage.
You know what we would have done, right? But it's
Yeah.
really boring, so
Mhm.
we cut over that.
I mean, we all agree
action
that
again.
we all agree.
And-
Everybody in America agreed that
Jeez.
Morbius was excellent.
You guys wanted
so
to see
that's
Woody Harrelson
sort
as
of
Carnage,
one.
right? Here you go. Here he is.
Unreal.
With the worst hair in Hollywood.
Wow.
in that
Unreal.
movie, it was.
So, Troy, beyond nitpicks, what did you think of the very, very end, that mid-credit scene where Fisk is watching the election coverage in New York City?
I think that's so I'm not a big Daredevil Kingpin person. I just haven't really ever read or watched anything with them. I never watched
Funny
the
enough,
show.
me neither. I only know Kingpin from all the Spider-Man I read as a kid.
Well, yeah, that's his other big. He has two guys, and it's usually Daredevil and Spider-Man.
Yeah,
He's sort of an everybody guy, but those are the two ones, depending on how adult you want to make him.
Yeah.
But I know that Kingpin becomes mayor is like a huge plot point of his that people have been kind of waiting for a while.
There's a lot of cool things they can do.
There's cool things they can do because of this show's ending. Of like, they can kind of do like the Lex Luthor runs for president thing that like the old Justice League cartoon did, where it was just like, is he that big of a guy? Who knows?
Right.
He kind of found some empathy. Is he a dick? And then
the whole point of the series was that we wanted to heal his trauma,
Sure.
make him a good guy.
yeah,
Because
and-
Maya still loves him. He still helped raise her.
you know what I think? Yeah.
But then, like that Justice League show with Lex Luthor's also like, no, he does actually turn out to be a dick. So they could do a fake out, they could do a non-fake out, they could do kind of a reverse fake out.
Do you think it's really just a setup for the pilot of the Daredevil show that's coming soon?
Yeah, but that's
Probably.
not coming soon because they revamping the entire thing. It was supposed to be some 18 episode. What was it like? Something.
Wait, is it not
absurd.
coming soon?
I have
It
no
is
idea.
not. They put that. They cut that completely out and said the entire production was something like where they like Daredevil wasn't in costume until like episode 6 or something. Like it was something. Zany,
Oh shit! It's
bad.
slated for next year.
No, the only Marvel movie I think coming out is Deadpool.
Yeah.
Which can very well be the game changer for the Marvel universe.
It's got Logan in it.
It does. X-23 rumored to be.
The girl
the
as
girl
well?
from Logan, which is very good for me because I own that first appearance, and every time they make another movie appearance, it's like jumps up in the.
Paying for my kids'
I'm like,
college.
Oh, let's go! Because it's like one of the only modern comics that's worth much.
It's like that episode, that issue of The Boys you have, right?
It's probably worth more than that. It's definitely worth more than that. Like those are enough people were kind of buying Garth Ennis related materials. It was independent. People got it. It's Derek Roberts and Garth Ennis had pretty good names in it, so people bought it. What I would say is that probably a couple issues that have like maybe some characters that haven't showed up in The Boys will be worth something. Like maybe that character that we saw. We all watched V or Generation V.
Yeah,
I
Did
never
we-
even
did we
I never
cover that?
finished it.
Did we ever cover
we
that?
did not.
Should have covered that. We'll probably have to for our boys covers at some point. So
They do cross over.
So yes,
we can
but
do it probably right before it comes out.
either way, Tech Knight is a reference there, but like
Mhm.
that first appearance might be worse because like maybe that's issue like 8 or something of The Boys, and people dropped off by then. But
That's
for
a good point.
modern comic that would be worth anything, the thing what happened with X-23 is that that character's first appearance is actually in the cartoon like X-Men Evolution.
Oh,
Like,
really?
It's one of it's like a Harley Quinn situation.
Yeah, there's like there's pretty crazy situations where like that is actually their first appearance, and then shortly thereafter, a few years later, like they show up randomly in an issue of NYX, which is at the time like 2003 or something. Like there are 25 to 30 X titles every month. So
That was when X-Men got really out of
there's
control.
Miniseries, there's side things, there's like, so even if you are the most avid collector of X-Men related books, like it was like you had to cut stuff out. Like I'm just like I don't care about fucking Cyclops and Phoenix like 1 and 3, like whatever fucking side, like these are I just don't care. Like so NYX was like, what if there was mutants that were never found by anyone? They weren't. They were just like essentially just runaways. Like and in the third issue, at the end of the issue, there's this prostitute that is like, and then at the last frame, they have these claws. They show that she's Laura Kinney or whatever the character's name is, and that's her first appearance. And it is like. You're like, well, what the fuck? You're like, okay, new character. Like they've introduced this character here, but like that, it's only because like very few people got it by that issue. If they bought the first issue, the second, but a lot of people fall off by 3. So, yeah, got it.
NYX issue number 3. There's one issue for sale that I found real quick for $630.
Yeah, that's about right. That's roughly,
So yeah.
So I got mine graded.
So do you want us to like in the theaters for Deadpool 3, like turn to people next to us and be like, wow, that X-23 is pretty cool, yeah.
That's like the coolest character I've ever seen in my life. Like I need to get that first issue before anybody else does. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, stuff like that.
We can do that. We can do that.
But with Echo.
the one we were supposed to talk about.
I don't know if they have that thing, but X-23 is a character I would 100% follow. That's a pretty cool mutant they could bring in as a crossover. I could definitely see some Young Avengers action going into that. That I think is probably their good bet forward if we're thinking about it. But like mayor of New York, they could definitely do this. They need to just this could be so well done reactionary to just whatever is. They can literally do what they did for that whole mayor story, which is just isolate New York completely.
Mm.
You literally just isolate New York, and the whole early thing of this is like it's like crouched in darkness. And I think the easy way to do this, believe it or not, is like you merge two universes that exist currently, or at least have existed, that are still kind of out there, and actually do play into the original storyline. The original storyline, the whole world of New York is like encased in darkness for a while. So like it's like and there's a dark force that kind of, so it's like perpetual night. And during that time, like there's a lot of crime, obviously all this stuff going on. And during that time, Kingpin like builds a bunch of goodwill by like keeping a lot of the people protected. But basically like, but like very much so knowing what he's doing to like, he's eventually like, you owe me eventually.
Yeah.
And he,
no good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah. So I could see a span of time where that happens, where like we're in this darkness. Now in that time, Dagger from Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, shit.
I don't know how associated Cloak was in the Dark Force situation in the first place, but she is at the top of like one of the Chrysler buildings, or what? That's Chicago, isn't it? Or one of the tall buildings in New York.
Empire
There's
State?
a few of those.
Sure.
There's a few of those.
And she's just shining light so that there's some light in the city. She's just constantly doing that the entire time. Like she's just like maintaining that so that there's like some ability to see.
She's up there with like a big old flashlight.
She's just like there, like a giant torch, like just a beacon of hope kind of thing.
A literal beacon of hope.
Yeah. So like that's kind of like a neat story. And there is a Cloak and Dagger series that they did that also crossed over with Runaways. There was some Marvel properties that were running around on like
that was all the
random
Hulu
FX
stuff.
and Hulus and stuff like that. And it was actually pretty good. I kind of like what they did with it, but they could definitely bring that in. They would fit right into like just established even characters that you could kill off, do whatever. Like just that would be neat and cohesive to some degree. But if you're gonna bring back in like John Bernthal, like this is a perfect time to like bring those elements in. You have Echo, you have Daredevil, you have Kingpin, you have these characters roaming around. You have Jessica Jones you can bring back. You can have Luke Cage come back. You can
I
have
love Jessica Jones.
these things that they already have the property to. It's
Iron
already built
Fist
in.
will be busy.
And you can get Deadpool, or not Deadpool, Bullseye, and you can get some good villains that are already kind of ingrained in that whole world, and let that play out a little bit, and it can, in whatever the whole Dark Force or whatever could just be like whatever happened in the Marvel universe, like fucking they're all in Battle World doing their Kang thing, whatever happens after Deadpool, because I think Deadpool could literally set this whole thing up. And it could literally just like
right after Kang reveals himself, and they go, "Wow, you look a whole lot different."
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, well, that's one of my powers."
Look like Denzel Washington now. It's so weird.
Oh man, how crazy!
Why do you look like Donald Glover now?
There was a shift in the timeline. And,
Doesn't Donald Glover already exist in the Marvel universe?
he's
like a
he's-
two-bit
some of 'em.
criminal.
He's more of a Sony guy, but he's
yeah, Tom Holland had him webbed up.
He's a prowler.
and he was
Easter
in
egg.
and he was in Across the Spider-Verse
Yeah, he was.
in live action.
So let me ask you guys this. So this is very obviously leading into the Daredevil series whenever it comes out next year. Troy, how do you feel comfortable about the Daredevil series? Do you feel confident that it's going to be like this big smash hit that everyone's expecting it to be? Because Disney's pushed it back a couple times now. They are projecting, at least according to Wikipedia, an 18-episode series, or at least season 1.
I mean, I don't know how much like infinite faith I put into really any Disney Plus like Marvel show.
Sure, but do you have more faith than if this had come out like if you had just watched, let's say, Hawkeye
Sure.
and maybe the Black Widow movie, and then they're like, oh, and Daredevil's coming soon? Would you probably have less faith? I assume. Has this helped your faith levels?
So I think that the ending of this with sort of a hint at Mayor Kingpin
Sure.
is cool and gets me on board. I like Echo's character a lot, and if you were like, and Echo's in this series for like an
She's
episode
definitely
or two,
going to be.
I'd be like, that's cool. if you really wanted to go fucking balls to the wall and like huge, and you wanted to try to squeeze like a Spider-Man in there somewhere, which is not what they would do, because I'm sure
I can't see
Sony
that happening.
no, but I'm just saying that's like I'd be, but it would be like over the moon. But I think that it's just sort of one of those things where I'm like, I was more interested in watching a Marvel show when Hawkeye came out.
Right.
And I think, so I'm sort of like half and half, where I'm like, it is the perfect time to do it now, but also it's not the perfect time for my interest levels anymore. Like, I need like
you've got a break. You've got at least a year and change.
Yeah. And this year might be what they need, honestly.
Is there any other Marvel shows on the line here? Like, are we when is the next? What is our gaps between any Marvel real property? Because we also didn't cover What If I'm not mistaken, right?
I don't
we
believe
didn't.
we did. No.
And What If 2 was good? Just for our Marvelites out there that are watching our ever expanding coverage.
So allegedly, the X-Men '97 TV show should be out this year.
Say that's interesting. Like they're doing Maverick adjacent stuff. They're kind of.
But I don't think that ties into the MCU.
It does. It will in some sense, because they have. That series is supposed to be like picking up where that series left off.
Do you think that might lead into why Wolverine has the classic yellow and blue suit in Deadpool 3?
It could, because you're going to get some of these crossovers. And I think what they're doing is trying to mesh their properties to get to this. They have to be doing Battle World. Like, they have to be doing this thing where it's just like the multiverse saga culminates in this. And I think what they would do well to do is whatever they got backstory they got to give for these random characters that are going to be in there, and like they can do that through the various properties of What If, through this, they're building these things over time. They can just kind of say, okay.
I mean,
they do.
At any
one
point,
thing
they can have Doctor Strange go, "Oh no, a portal!"
Like, exactly. But I'm saying that like they can just kind of like Deadpool can set this thing up. It can even like I have strong feelings that like somehow it connects to Loki, and that we have time variance here, and that makes perfect sense. And that way, it makes sense that we can pick up where Ramona Renslayer left off with what I think was her meeting Eliath, and perchance Eliath being originally her thing, and that like maybe she doesn't get killed, and like that. Either way, I think you could kind of shift things over there. And kind of just get everybody to like the next stage is like, remember all those loose tying threads? Well, guess what? They literally will all just kind of show up here, and some of it will just rectify itself by them disappearing from the vanishing.
It's weird. All of the characters that you guys weren't interested in happened to die on Battleworld.
Like literally, like just,
how crazy!
Just erase, like you were planning to do this more or less anyway. Do it. Like, and that's an interesting take to be like, has this all been just like a, let's see what sticks, throw it at the pavement and then we'll just erase the whole thing and start anew?
Sure.
That seems to be what the most likely case is, just from a practical standpoint. If you want to have a new Tony Stark, I mean, like it.
That's going to happen, right? They're just going to give RDJ a blank check to come back, right?
See, here's the thing, but that's not long-lasting, because what you want is...
I don't think it will be long-lasting.
A revamped Tony Stark. What you probably want to do is ignore that side of the world. You want to bring in the Reed Richards, the Fantastic Four, these types of things, and the Doctor, like, just have their whole focus there, and then... You can even have like, in the news clippings, you can have references to Tony Stark. He exists, but we're not there yet. He hasn't done anything in this world with Iron. There is no Iron Man yet, and then they can just rebuild the world from there. Like when Iron Man comes out, he'll be a. They may even introduce him just as Tony Stark, and in a different property, and you just kind of have it built up from there. But there hasn't been an Avengers yet. So that's where you build the hype for like what should be there, or but you have this world of maybe you build up X-Men, and the Avengers are a response to a growing. It's more of a freedom force, or it's a Dark Avengers. That's where I think they should go, but we'll see because I don't like they have to get to like so many goddamn things before they even get. They could just go to Battleworld right now, and they're just not going. Like they could, but I think so many of their storylines are still caught up for years. Like they're never like when is
And
how are they 2024? No Captain America, right? 2025
Yeah,
Captain
so
America.
just to finish off,
yeah.
because I got the list in front of me.
Yeah.
2024 ends with the Agatha show this fall,
Okay.
and
Sure.
the Spider-Man cartoon is sometime this year as well.
Okay.
Which,
But that
yeah,
cartoon
probably
is
won't
a
really
different
be a
universe.
thing, yeah.
It's not count. Captain America is next year, Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Next year, May is the new Fantastic Four. Next year, July is the Thunderbolts, which is like
Okay.
their Suicide
yeah.
Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Black Widow, Red Guardian,
That-
Taskmaster, Ghost, U.S. Soldier, and Bucky Barnes.
That gives me the most hype, especially if they can get Captain. So you said Captain America,
So U.S. Soldier.
Fantastic Four,
Oh yeah,
and
sorry,
U.S. Agent.
the movies. I was going over. That.
Yeah. So
My
so
bad.
Harkness could be fun. I don't know. At least that's something else in this year. So like really, when you think about it, you got Deadpool coming out this summer.
Yep, Deadpool's still
Followed
this
by
summer.
probably further in the summer fall, you got like the X-Men 97.
X-Men 97 is
and then
supposed to be
Agatha Hark-
early this year.
Okay,
Spider-Man is just
Oh, so maybe
2024.
so maybe we get X-Men next. X-Men 97 and
I would
then,
assume.
and then Deadpool. Okay.
And then
I mean, the
Spider-Man
Ag-
cartoon, and then Agatha.
And then Agatha. What's the Spider-Man cartoon?
It's just called Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. It's done in the art style of the old comics, and it's in a different universe. But it's supposed to be a prequel to Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Interesting.
But it's a different universe, so it's not. It's stupid.
Okay.
But it's just gonna be a fun little Spider-Man cartoon.
That was very
It's gonna be-
dismissive
it's gonna be
towards the
fun.
end there.
I like that they're doing some animated property that's fun.
Yeah. And then that's it for 2024, and then 25.
Agatha can
you
be
get the
could be
movies.
interesting. I don't know. I feel like that world is off, but like I would be interested if you get more like Young Avengers, if you get Vision back, if you get like some of those things. I'd be interested in really seeing again as a spiritual successor to
when they
WandaVision.
Sure.
figure out that the strongest woman in the universe probably wasn't killed by a crumbling rock or whatever,
And then
Yeah.
arguably you have
and everybody will be
the
surprised.
potential for 3 straight bangers, maybe with
Mhm.
Captain America, Fantastic Four, and Thunderbolts.
If
Like,
all
that's a
3 of
nice
those are
and
good,
then
we're back.
Blade wraps up 2025.
If all 4 of those are good, I think we're back.
Yeah, I think you're back if you get if people think those are cool. But you got a long way to go, and the only real thing that's going to keep people down is Deadpool.
It's tough,
It's
man.
tough, man. That's a long like Deadpool, and then
You need a
Agatha
lot
doing this
of
thing, and
You
then
need a
people
lot
are
of
gonna be
Fitzwaters.
and then
to make
you're,
Deadpool
and then for out the gate you get Captain America, which I think is likely to be the weakest of that bunch.
Yeah,
Unless they make it good, and like I feel like the absolute best part of Captain America: Winter Soldier was U.S. Agent and what's his face?
Bucky?
No, what's his name's son? From
What's his name?
Ego. Ego played by
Ego, Peter Quill.
No,
Wait.
you're Kurt Russell's
Oh, wait,
son.
Kurt
His
Russell's
real
real
son.
son.
His
yeah,
real life. son.
what's his name?
Ha!
Something Russell.
Yep,
Anyway, Amond Russell.
Mr. Russell, if you're nasty.
Yeah, so he was amazing, and it has just been too effing
Wyatt.
long. Wyatt Russell
Wyatt.
was great. He was absolutely great as this hateable Captain America, and as U.S. Agent, I'm really interested in seeing this guy go. Like I would love to see a goddamn Dark Avengers.
He's in
Thunderbolts
Night
set up.
Swim, Troy.
Oh,
He's arguably one of the best parts of the MCU right now, in my opinion. Like he's a very complicated character. He's a Captain America stand-in that can be conflicted and kind of back and forth, and that it's the best way that U.S. Agent always is that he is this guy trying to be Captain America that just isn't Captain America, and trying to, and his journey is to become just more like Captain America over time, and just falling back on the fact that like he's kind of raised without his traits, and that, but that's an interesting journey to see what he does, and you see it at the end of Captain America: Winter Soldier, the kind of thing that he can do, which is like get it by the end, and I like that. He's a compelling character as far as, and I think he played him great. That's a character that we just, I think, need to see. Are you kidding me? I would love to see him do his shield stomp on somebody I want to see him do it to.
Oh yeah. I should point out very clearly, there is a very large disclaimer on all of these dates that they could get pushed for any reason, and that they haven't announced yet because the writers and actor strikes of last year delayed a lot of production for a lot of things. I will say, though, 2026, the only thing they have on the docket is the Kang Dynasty Avengers movie, which they've already said might get put on ice for a minute.
But it makes sense to... Those 4 movies seems like a lot for 2025. So
Yeah.
I would easily see them pushing Captain America to May, what's it, Fantastic Four to August, Thunderbolts to Christmas.
Exactly. They were all
And then-
slated early enough that if they
and
got
then
pushed, they'd still be 2024.
Yeah, you can
or
still
5.
do it in that year, but if you push maybe Blade to the following year,
Yeah,
but
if you had
Jesus,
to.
Mary and Joseph. I mean, what is the year that the externals? What was the fucking movie?
Eternals?
came
Eternals?
out.
21, I
I
think.
almost said internals.
It's 24. It's 3 years since we know anything that's gone on with like the one Blade voice and the Kit
Yeah,
Harington
Eternals was
character.
2021.
And I need to know what happens to the Eternals.
Is it early 21 too?
No, it's late 21.
Yeah.
It was November 5th in the U.S.
Gosh. I mean, like, it's weird. Like, how
I remember
long was
because
it
I kept
between
telling you guys
movies,
that it
like,
ruined my birthday.
Yeah. Oh, well.
It had a budget of $236 million, and I don't even know what the fuck they spent all that on. That movie was a fucking
Jolie,
slog.
I think.
I
Mhm.
guess that must have been it.
I think that was it.
It only made $400 million. What a flop.
When
It
you-
also occupies 0% of my brain space.
Yeah, I
so
don't even
little.
fucking remember that movie most of the time.
When you talk about all these movies, all these shows that we've watched that could have been a movie, and then all this fucking movie that was so ripe for 20 episodes to figure out what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Echo, I think you see it. I think you watch it. I think you binge it. It's a bingeable show. Should probably just be 2 long episodes.
You can
but
literally do it in like an afternoon and an evening. Like take a Sunday where you're not doing anything and just put it on.
What do we do for letter grade here? Letter grade.
Little greed. Tell you what, I never start, so I'll start. I'm going to give this show a solid B. It had its flaws, but overall, I really enjoyed the time I spent watching. There were a lot of moments that I felt myself glued to the screen and not grabbing my phone, which is always a good sign in my ADHD book. So yeah, I'm giving this a solid ass B. It was a good show. Troy?
I'm gonna go. I
need a Jeopardy music button.
B minus because I think that I know what you're saying. There's there are a lot of points, especially like fight scenes where she fights Daredevil, where they're on the ice rink.
Roller rink.
Yeah, same.
Make America Skate Again.
Yeah, make America skate again.
Yeah, and we all agree. And
You saw he won the Iowa caucuses, right?
who are you talking about? Echo?
Yeah, Echo.
Kingpin?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Kingpin. He's gonna be mayor.
But yeah,
It's a timeless podcast.
but the fight scenes are all super cool. I like a lot of sort of the emotional sort of family scenes. I like every scene Kingpin's in. We didn't talk about it, but my favorite one of my favorite scenes is him beating up the ice cream guy in the alley, and then she comes over and kicks him.
He makes the phone calls like, I don't want Maya to see me like this.
Yeah.
I need a new jacket.
You and I
Need a new jacket.
But
need your jacket.
but like there's a lot of times where when it shows sort of the adult rating, I like it a lot. There are parts of it where mostly tied to the powers, the actual powers stuff that I'm not as on board with. So I'm gonna go B minus. I think I'm a little bit under where you guys were. You guys were telling me that this is like a super sick show, and I think that I may have had a little too many expectations.
I didn't want
Maybe.
that might be on me for blowing your expectations.
No,
up.
and it's not bad at all. It's at least
I was
the worst case scenario. It's top 3 Marvel shows.
I am really moved by good needle drops, and this has a few.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, it does.
And just I okay. So the show we should really be covering is the new True Detective season. But that actually the opening is such a. I don't want to say it's like a rip off of True Detective, but like I am confident someone was like, kind of give me an opening like True Detective. But it's not and it's not even like the music. The music is actually really great. I love this song, and it definitely echoes of the, vibe or tone of that, but a different style.
Yeah.
But the visuals are direct. Like I wouldn't even doubt that like this was AI generated. Like make this put it to be like make an opening that's like, you can put some visuals in, but like make this look like the opening to True Detective because there are so many borrowed, just kind of art from it. But it definitely gave that vibe, and it set the tone I think for it, which it really worked for. And actually, True Detective Night Country, the new season, is also doing like an Alaska Native people. There's people that that side of it in there too, so it really vibed with the whole thing. And I was hoping they would get a little bit more into that but what was really funny to me when I first opened the show was that it was I was it was Vincent D'Onofrio and Kingpin. It was like we're getting back to like the gritty, grounded thing, and the first fucking scene is like this, like weird, like cave, like water spiral thing that was like I was like otherworldly, like you said, alien. I was like, what? And I was like, okay, cool. But that threw me enough off the beginning that I was like, all right, where are we going? Like, let's go for the ride. And it had a tone to it that I enjoyed, but it didn't deserve a mature rating to what it did. I would have liked to have seen some more. Like, she's brutal, and she's a hero that is not...
Right, you want Kingpin, Deadpool, door slamming scene more.
They did that pretty close with the ice cream guy. Like,
sure.
I mean, it's a pretty brutal scene. He's in the white coat with the blood, so it definitely works, and it's definitely harsh. But I don't think it met some of those levels that we saw before. It was just some hype, and I'm like, that's a little weak. But I'm going to give this a...
I was going to say, that's a hell of a preamble for your letter grade.
I am going to give this also a B.
Okay.
Which I think kind of probably brings it down into the B-. Maybe it's still a B, but it's like a low B if it is. Very low, mid-level B. It's like an 83, 84%.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth your time. I think it's really helped set up Kingpin, and I think it's a fun ride. And I think she's a cool character that if they can kind of ignore some of these power upgrades and
I think the fact
in some sense.
I think the fact that it was only 5 episodes and I was able to watch the whole thing in under 5 hours may have allowed my brain to excuse some of the shortcomings because they weren't long-lived. And it was like, yeah, maybe that sucks, but we moved past it pretty quickly, and now we're on to something new.
Well, they also have more character per person than a lot of these shows have had.
That's true as well.
There's a lot more this is sort of a grounded, contained thing that doesn't have to get into what if there was a different multiverse where you had 3 heads or whatever.
What if it's a different show, Troy?
Thank you.
And that concludes our Echo and of other Marvel properties coverage.
Really, it was more of a Marvel retrospect.
We did it.
We did it, everyone. We don't have to talk about Marvel for the rest of the year. At least until Deadpool comes out. That concludes our episode of the podcast. Do the like and subscribe and all the fun shit. I don't care. We'll see you next time.
We'll get you next time, listener.
I'm still thinking that he could be Claw. I think he could be
That's
be Claw.
his name. Claw. Dr. Claw.
I'm sorry. I forgot that you went to school.
You don't go to school for 8 years to be called Claw.
I'm sorry. I apologize. How do you feel about Matthew Broderick?
Well, I enjoyed Ferris Bueller.
Uh-huh.
But not a fan of Godzilla.